2022 is ending and it's been a pop culture whirlwind. We've had some great moments, from a highly mediatized trial to a slap, to the reign of some and the fall of others.
Sweet.
I had to lose 16 pounds to be able to fit this.
It feels like a movie.
Here is Plastiks 2022 Pop Culture Recap. The Julia Fox takeover.
So far a masterpiece, if I do say so myself.
2022 was the year Julia Fox made headlines after briefly dating the rapper and becoming an internet phenomenon with her risky fashion choices and exaggerated enunciation.
I mean, I was Josh Safdie's muse when he wrote Uncut Gems.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like things
As
like
odd
that.
as it is,
Like,
the world couldn't help but want to listen to this on repeat. Post Kanye, she became a star on her own, bringing back low-rise jeans and Aaliyah-inspired makeup, which came with its own tutorial.
I actually did it myself. Yeah.
It's no wonder she was Josh Safdie's muse.
Who's my muse? Oh my gosh, tough question. I don't know, maybe I'm museless.
Beyonce's Renaissance. In a year packed with wild news, a new album from Beyonce was absolutely welcome. Released in July, Renaissance marked Bey's musical return,
Eyes on eye when I put on.
infusing elements of Afrobeat, pop, bounce, dance, and R&B to create an ambitious, fresh, and nostalgic body of work with prominent collaborators. The album, as Beyonce intended, inspires us to find joy, love, dance, and freedom in an increasingly uncertain world. Through Renaissance, Beyonce wants to reclaim house music and its Black queer roots. She is intensely focused on celebrating the long legacy of Black musicians and artists, of which she is a part and beacon.
Encourage and celebrate all of the beautiful Black queens and kings that continue to inspire me.
The way you make my Black friends feel is empowering, and you make them stand up for themselves.
It's giving Album of the Year at the Grammys. A toxic trial.
What was the question again?
In one of the most talked about trials of the decade, Johnny Depp sued his ex Amber Heard for defamation after she accused him of abuse. What came next was an absolute media circus, complete with around-the-clock coverage of the trial and countless TikTok memes.
Work together as actors, right?
No.
As janitors, no! Above all, you have to take this serious.
The ruling was fully in favor of Depp, one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, supported by an extremely misogynistic online rhetoric. While we love Depp's acting, discrediting a victim of abuse in such a public case is dangerous and can have a negative impact on survivors. Kanye's public meltdown.
Oh, we got some new lawyers. We pull up.
As Britney's conservatorship finally ended, we saw another celebrity have a public meltdown. From dragging his wife and her family through endless online rants, Ye's erratic behavior was very concerning. It was a rough year for the artist, who had spiraled out of control with a fashion show where he presented a White Lives Matter shirt.
They do. It's the obvious thing.
Following that with anti-Semitic
Being
comments.
has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
It didn't take long for the artist to lose his deal with Adidas and Gap,
And I'm the boss of me, so I'm not just the mascot.
getting dropped by his label and talent agency,
The talent agency CAA has dropped Kanye West,
and getting a boycott by Anna Wintour and Balenciaga. West's violent discourse opened the door for more violence. Freedom of speech, sure. Inciting hate, it's a no for us. Twitter gets musky. Elon Musk is the definition of a toxic boss. When he took over Twitter this year, chaos ensued.
You can't help it, that's okay.
Executives were fired via email, thousands of workers were cut off, remote work was no longer permitted, and employees worked grueling schedules to meet Musk's orders.
They're working with someone who is inherently unpredictable, so they're pulling out.
Musk launched a subscription service called Twitter Blue, where anyone can buy a verification badge, causing even more chaos as Twitter became one huge source of verified misinformation. The company lost more than 1 million users and a massive drop in revenue. Taylor Swift reigns the charts. 2022 brought us new music by one of the biggest female artists of our times, Taylor Swift. The most awaited track on Midnights was a duet with Lana Del Rey, which caused an online uproar since Del Rey is barely heard on the song. Nevertheless, the album was able to make history, occupying the entire Billboard 100 Top 10 in a single week.
I'm feeling very overwhelmed by the fans' love for the record.
The album is a mix of Taylor's more mature folklore era and her more pop sound. It is clear that she speaks the language of this generation and beyond, both visually and sonically. Gucci San Michele.
A contradiction between the past and the future.
Gucci's creative director for the past 7 years, Alessandro Michele, who has pretty much given the brand another life, amping up its revenues by 50%, has decided to move on to another venture. Michele has brought so much creativity with some iconic campy shows populated by vivid colors, century-spanning references, dinosaurs and aliens, transforming the brand into a fusion of antique and somber meets pop culture.
It's really about contradiction between the past and the future. It's my way to work.
Michele has worked with incredible collaborators along the way, like illustrator Ignacy Monreal, Harry Styles, and Martin Parr, to further expand his creative vision, leaving an everlasting mark on Gucci. Bennifer 2.0.
We're super happy.
One wouldn't expect Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez to make headlines as a couple in 2022, but here we are.
I don't think anybody was more surprised than us.
Yeah.
20 years after being Hollywood's hottest couple in 2002 and multiple relationships later,
It was the biggest heartbreak of my life.
Bennifer got back together in a fairy tale twist. This time, the couple was able to finally say I do and made us believe in life after love. Since their marriage, the world still hasn't been able to get enough of the couple, with plenty of touchy-feely paparazzi photos to feed into the obsession. Harry Styles' Hollywood debut. 2022 was definitely the year of Harry Styles. As if the release of his album Harry's House, his sold-out Love on Tour, and his on-off romance with Olivia Wilde were not enough headlines, he added acting to the equation. At the peak of his musical career, Styles gave fans exactly what they wanted with Don't Worry Darling and My Policeman. It was interesting to see him on the big screen, even though his acting is not as good as his singing. With the numerous pop culture moments Styles has been a part of this year, there's no question that his performances and interviews made it to the top of the conversation.
My favorite thing about the movie is it feels like a movie.
Scandal at Balenciaga. In a series of unfortunate events, Balenciaga made the huge mistake of casting children to showcase their home objects collection, featuring S&M teddy bears that aren't meant for children. This was followed by another campaign where prop documents scattered on the table had one court case against child pornography. It didn't take long for people to connect the dots.
This is basically my everyday bags. It's not going to be anymore.
And for conspiracy theories to develop, and for this to become one of the year's most talked about events. Balenciaga did issue many apologies, but it seems no one is willing to budge. Even Kim Kardashian ended her collaboration with the brand, opening a bigger conversation about the responsibility of brands and their production process. Kim's Met controversy.
I had to lose 16 pounds to be able to fit this.
Kim Kardashian's decision to wear Marilyn Monroe's dress was bold. She knew this would anger a lot of people, yet she was not going to attend the Met without said dress, even with access to every big fashion designer in the world.
There's no backup plan.
Love or hate the look, the socialite succeeded in creating a major moment on the red carpet and sparking a huge online conversation.
You better be joking.
One could argue this moment gave the dress another life, as there will never be another Monroe anyway. But did Kim really not put the dress at risk?
If you have to sneeze, go in the other room. Literally, I'm not even joking. Like, if you have to cough, go in the other room. Sorry.
The end of a royal era. On September 8th, the world mourned the loss of Queen Elizabeth II. The longest reigning monarch in British history, the Queen has been immortalized in countless pieces of pop culture, from film to music.
A tribal leader in eccentric costume.
She's an iconic figure that the entire world knows, and although the existence of the monarchy is questionable in and of itself,
But I'm not the biggest fan of the Queen or just the monarchy in general.
Elizabeth Windsor was destined to be queen. She was crowned at the age of 25 and was sovereign of 15 states at the time of her death.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
A strong female leader, she will be remembered for her humor, her longevity, and her strength.
I keep mine in here.
Bella Hadid is a piece of art. In more 2022 fashion news, the Coperni show was trending for its innovative fashion moment. The brand, known for fusing technology, science, and art, made headlines for its creations this year, and more particularly this impressive stunt with Bella Hadid. For about 9 minutes, the audience watched a white dress being sprayed directly onto her naked body. The substance, a spray-on fabric developed by a company called Fabrican, magically transformed into a figure-hugging dress that can be reworn, washed and hung, or turned back into its liquid form. This moment was a nod to Alexander McQueen's historic fashion show where art and technology also meet, and the best moment of Bella Hadid's life so far.
That was the best moment of my life.
The White Lotus.
These gays, they're trying to murder me.
The best thing about fall 2022 was season 2 of The White Lotus.
How was your caprese?
A brilliant social satire by Mike White, which kept us waiting on edge every single week and did not disappoint.
These are some high-end gays.
The clever writing warranted a weekly deluge of memes and endless iconic lines uttered by a brilliant cast.
Sweet.
Jennifer Coolidge and Aubrey Plaza, especially in this scene, give Oscar-worthy performances.
Guess who I am? Peppa Pig. I'm Monica Vitti. Monica Vitti is dead.
Along with the Italian cast who brought some authenticity to the show.
Rocco. Sì. Il tuo ragazzo.
Ci siamo fidanzati, quindi.
The wild conspiracies about who gets murdered on the show failed to predict the ending, which was a surprise for everyone, including Coolidge.
Are there any psychics in this town?
Another star of the show is Megan Fahey, with her breakout role giving us two medicated to care vibes. Give them all the Emmys. Thank you, Thierry Mugler. He once said, "I have always been fascinated by the most beautiful animal on earth, the human being." Manfred Thierry Mugler, one of the most iconic fashion designers of our time, has passed away this year, leaving behind a rich legacy, the only perfume that topped Chanel No. 5, and the most prized archive. One of the biggest losses for the fashion industry, Mugler revolutionized the world of garments by bringing an element of performance, a level of camp that no one can top.
Camp? Then it's Mr. Mugler, like the king of camp, like he invented camp.
And many groundbreaking fashion moments. The slap that was heard around the world. This year, the Oscars were back with a bang, with a performance by Beyonce and a historic win for Coda, an indie film with a mostly deaf cast, as some of the highlights. However, what stole the show was Will Smith's toxic masculinity. The audience was wildly confused when he came up on stage during Chris Rock's monologue to cinematically slap him, thinking it was part of a comedy skit.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of him.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Turns out Smith really thought he was protecting his wife. While physical assault is not funny in our books, there's no denying the shocking occurrence has established itself as one of the most talked about events of the year.
That was the greatest night in the history of television. Okay.